AP, just wanted to get your thoughts about the overall speed and depth. I really haven't seen teams in the spring at ASU that have had been this good in either of those categories recently.
Yeah, kudos to Joe Conley and the strength staff for obviously over the last 4 years since we've been here, really building this bad boy from ground up, and then obviously to the type of players that we're recruiting now. You know, we've made a big emphasis on getting taller, longer, bigger, more mass, and obviously speed is a big factor into that. And then once again with Joe and with guys, you know, enrolling early, that freshman class going back 2 years ago, now you're seeing that product, I think, being produced on the field. But there's also competition. You know, guys are not settling for being a backup. Guys are not settling for just playing on special teams. They are now pushing our starters. That makes an overall competitive group on defense and offense.
And just to follow up on that, what does that speed enable you as a defensive coordinator?
Well, it gives you options, but then you got to be smart because when teams see speed, they just run directly down at it. So you can't forget the physicality of the game, the mental toughness of the game that you got to have. But the speed is great. Obviously, you want to see guys swarming to the ball. Hopefully, when we ever suit up in the fall, that you see that. But we're building it from the blocks right now. We talked about being a rock-solid foundation, really building our core values and principles with our defense, with speed, with hustle, with effort, and with team unity.
Nick?
Coach, I know we're just starting the spring, but when you're looking out on the field and seeing all that, what do you start to think about, you know, what this team could be in the fall?
Have them play faster. How can I have them play faster? Making sure they're mentally sharp, making sure they know their assignments, their alignments, the adjustments to it, making the game slow down for them mentally. The more that happens, those guys will be really fast and they'll be flying. Right now we're playing fast because we're physically fast. Guys can run fast. But we anticipate better. I think as we do that and we're in the classroom and we're building this defense slowly, just like we did last year with Marvin, with our core group of coaches, of just doing it day by day, you know, really being sound on our details, our technique, and our fundamentals each and every day, harping on the little things, not letting anything get swept underneath the rug, and obviously calling everybody out when need to.
Ode?
AP, obviously you have a lot of proven commodities, especially in the back seven. Do you try in spring practice because of that to really have the backups take more first team reps so they go one-on-ones more to help their overall development? Because depth obviously is always crucial with any team.
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate. We had a bunch of guys come back for their sixth year now. Most of those guys are in the secondary. We had some backers not declared for the draft and come back. That's beneficial. Then you add in the freshman class that we brought in. Our goal here is to build depth and then to hone in on the fine skills of our guys who are older and played a lot of football here. But I think it varies each and every practice. You know, there's certain practices you want to see your ones get the look against our offense, against Jaden and those guys. But then there's certain days like Saturday where you put those young DBs out there and you let them go against our veteran, now sophomore receivers. And you watch those guys go. Same thing with the defensive line. So the biggest thing for us is that next man up mentality. When I was a linebacker coach, that's one thing that I stressed to those guys. And now being as a coordinator, that's what we're stressing to the team amongst D-line, linebackers, and the secondary.
Michael?
Yeah, Coach, to kind of piggyback off that, obviously with the guys coming back and, you know, expectations of coming into a full season, and you've obviously faced those in your career before. But how do you balance that with them? I know you're saying competition, but not looking like too far ahead or not having a certain – maybe taking things for granted or accepting that, yeah, they're a veteran defense, but teams are still going to come after them.
Yeah, I think we set the tone with our first meeting. Our coaches told all our players, myself included, we're not going to allow them to be comfortable. We're going to make them uncomfortable as much as possible. We're going to constantly move our roster, our depth chart, move pieces around, not settle for being good, work on being great in everything that we do, making that next step. But we're not worried about expectations. That's too far down the road for us. Our expectation is to have a good practice today, better than what we had on Saturday.
Michelle?
Yeah, AP, I wanted to ask about Evan Fields, and obviously he was a great player last year. What improvements are you looking to see out of him this year?
Well, I think the same thing. I think we all know that Evan Fields is a missile. If you remember that USC game, he was all over the field, almost close to 20 tackles. I think coverage would be the main thing for us, and I think that'll be the best for his future going forward as he – at some point goes to the National Football League. Him cover and be healthy Evan plays such a physical style of football. He's always nicked up. And the more we can protect him, he can actually probably go and spring ball today. But our job is to protect him from himself. And more importantly, help him with his cover skills. He's with Coach Hawkins. They're doing an excellent job, along with Donnie Henderson, Michael Fletcher, and Sean Prater.
Richard?
Yeah, Coach, you kind of talked about, guys not being satisfied with being a backup and you have competition. How healthy is that to have competition at positions? Because, as they say, iron sharpens iron. Yeah, I wish it's sad that you guys can't be at practice, but if you watch our guys practice, if you watch today, we had a guy named Connor Lewis calls a forced fumble on the tackle on a big thud up hit on a running back. And if you just saw the excitement and the joy from not just our defensive backs, but our entire defense, everybody's embracing the opportunity to see their buddy play. But then it comes down to the nitty gritty. Everybody wants to be on the field. We only get suit up 11, and they know the substitution is very simple. The more you produce, the better you are, the less errors that you have, the longer you'll play. If you're not sharp with your assignment, your alignment, your adjustments, it's next man up, and it's okay. It could be Merlin Robertson, it could be Jack Jones, it could be DeAndre Pierce. It can be anybody on our team, and we're going to have that mentality of next man up. And that is a carry that's dangling in front of those players each and every day.
Jacob?
AP, given the overall experience that you have in the secondary right now, how comfortable will you feel sending more pressure just given those guys that are back there right now?
Well, here the funny part, when you got good coverage guys, you really don't want to send pressure. You want the quarterback to kind of hold the ball. So that'll allow us to do a lot of things that's different and that we can vary with our front. If it's bringing 4, if it's bringing 5, or if we bring the whole house. But more importantly, those guys understand that there's a clock. And the goal for our defensive line, our linebackers, or whoever's rushing the quarterback, let's say, that quarterback can't hold the ball for longer than 3.5 seconds. We want to see that ball come out quick. We want to rally everything up from top down and be a good tackling team. We want to have our tackle efficiency up in that 85 to 90%. That leads to a winning performance.
A few more questions for Coach. Trevor.
AP, you've talked about competition. Just how is that different from years past in terms of their capability to sharpen your starters and kind of foster more battles with guys who've just been in the program and know what you're looking for?
It's real simple. Our twos are pretty good. Our twos can be starters, and we'll be comfortable with that. Would it be what we want and fine-tuned across the board? No, but we're really comfortable with our twos. And I'll just use the linebackers, for example. I think Caleb McCullough is close to being a starter. Eric Gentry is a true freshman coming in. He's very impressive. Tommy Hill. You look at Cameron Phillips. Kewan Markham. You name a bunch of guys in our second group, and you say, wow, if that was a starter, I'm okay. And those guys understand it. And the guys in front of them understand it because I'm telling that each and every day. And we're also telling our freshmen that because that's what we're telling the recruits when they come in here, that they're going to be given an opportunity to compete. And that's how we've built this culture here over the last 4 years. We're using that recruiting technique, and we're not live because we've played freshmen. We really don't redshirt anybody. And most of those guys find their way on the field either through special teams or defense.
Ode?
AP, as much as we talk about a lot of proven commodities in the back 7, I know defensive line, because of various absences, has it been maybe a little harder to get a true read on them after the first week of spring practice?
No, actually it's really good because you're seeing a lot of Trevez Moore, Stanley Lambert, DJ Pisafea. You're seeing a great job of those guys getting an opportunity to play, and they're making the most out of it. And they're getting better. They're getting a lot of reps. We're in that mode of 80 to 90 reps each spring practice. And when you count that up over 15 practices, those guys will get a vast amount of reps. So we can now judge them going forward, knowing what we got with the Jermaine Lole, Tyler Johnson. We know what those guys can do. And you got to add in the fact that even though he hasn't played a lot of football, is Amiri Johnson. So we're getting comfortable with our depth because we're building up our 2s and 3s on paper who are now 1s and 2s on the field.
Last question, Christian.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned how much longer and just the size, speed, everything, how much more elite you guys are athletically. How rewarding is that to see, your efforts and Coach Firm's efforts after 4 years now starting to pay off on the field?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I could not hear your question.
Oh, I was saying, now that you're in your 4th year with you and Coach Firm, the emphasis you put on recruiting longer, faster athletes, how rewarding is it now to see it in the spring sort of come to fruition?
Yeah, I think what your question was, recruiting the longer, taller, faster players, what does it look like now in the spring? It's a beautiful thing to see. I'll be honest. When you look at our offensive line, and I'll flip on the other side of the ball, and seeing those freshmen come in and the mass and the size and the length and the athleticism that they now have and we have with our second, third units, it's impressive. Since we've been here, since I've been here with Coach Edwards, I've never seen our third offensive line group look like that. I've never seen those kind of body types walk around the building. We've got close to 17 offensive linemen, I believe, here in the spring and on scholarship. And it's amazing to see the length and the size and the wingspan of these guys. And then when you flip it on the defensive side of the ball, with the guys we brought in, I mean, you just got to see Eric Gentry in person. Yeah, he's skinny, but he is long and he's athletic and he's fast. And then Tommy Hill and RJ have done a great job of competing. Tommy's close to 200 pounds, probably our biggest DB, playing corner and one of our fastest guys. So a very impressive group of guys that were brought in last year in that 21 class for us. And that's just going to keep building on what we've been doing over the last 3.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.